utilized to create high-end backpacks, footwear, and furniture, especially in Europe, where revenues from these products reach hundreds of millions of dollars each year. More than just an economic sector, horse farming plays a crucial role in preserving and promoting cultural heritage. In Mongolia, the United States, and Australia, horses symbolize history and national identity. Horse riding festivals are not only entertaining events, but also serve as bridges between the past and the present, recalling times when horses were indispensable are involved in horse-related activities, from breeding and transportation to entertainment. This deep connection highlights not only the economic value of horses, but also their cultural and social significance. The horse farming industry, blending tradition with modernity, continues to thrive, generating tremendous economic value while preserving cultural heritage. From thrilling races to tranquil horseback tours, the industry demonstrates the horses are not just symbols of strength and beauty, but also integral to humanity's journey of development. More than just an economic sector, horse farming is a vivid testament to human creativity and effort in harmonizing nature with the economy. With its timeless potential and value, this world, nearly 2 billion people rely on livestock to meet some or all of their daily needs. Livestock farming forms part of the livelihood of at least 70% of the rural poor, including millions of pastoralists and nomadic herders. Nomadism is a way of life marked by the constant movement of groups in search of natural resources. This mobile lifestyle requires profound adaptation to the environment. It also requires detailed knowledge of natural cycles and the geographical conditions of the areas they pass through. Mongolia is one of the last remaining nomadic natural pasture. The country is home to 5.47 million cattle, a massive number. Around 80% of Mongolia's territory is covered by vast grasslands, extensive steppes, and forests, primarily used for free-range cattle grazing. Half of Mongolia's population lives a nomadic herding lifestyle scattered across the country, with cattle herds now reaching nearly 70 million animals. They reside in yurts, depending on pasture availability. These migrations are not random, but follow precise traditional principles. Mongolian nomadic families move to different pastures according to the seasons. Harsh winters cause severe food shortages for cattle. Thus, herders have no choice but to feed cattle dry wheat stalks or tree leaves in closed shelters instead of letting them graze freely. When spring arrives, the cattle are moved to areas free from rocks, swamps, or slippery paths. These fields are where the first herbs begin to grow, helping the herds to recover after the cold winter. In summer, grass grows more abundantly, but the herds must move frequently. Farmers cannot graze. Cattle must gain weight in preparation for winter. The herds graze and roam freely, with herders checking their location and numbers every few days. Milking is done more regularly, around twice a day. Nutrients and proteins from the milk help nomads survive in the harsh environment of the steppe. November, just before the onset of winter, is the ideal time for slaughter, as cattle have their highest fat reserves at this time. Meat from the slaughter Mongolians consume 110 million pounds of cattle meat annually. Despite having large numbers of cattle, Mongolia is not a major exporter, with most meat consumed domestically. Traditional grazing systems on arid grasslands are highly efficient. Studies show that protein levels in the cattle meat of nomads in Mali and Botswana are twice as high as that. Farmers can also use cattle as an alternative source of labour. They are invaluable to herders for work in the high hills. The famous yaks of the Himalayas are well known. The high altitude and harsh climate have produced a strong and resilient breed. Farmers use yaks to plough fields, and they are also used as transportation and pack animals. Tradition of raising millions of goats, an integral part of their way of life. Wandering across expansive grasslands, these herders rely on extensive knowledge of the land and seasonal rhythms to sustain their herds. They keep 1,200 goats on grazing lands spanning around 750 acres. This is the nomadic herding system of the famous Kerman province in Iran. The nomads move their livestock across the region's pastures from May to November, with most migrating south during the autumn and winter. Men primarily take on the more physically demanding tasks, like herding, reflecting that the Kerman's nomads' economy relies heavily on goat farming. In the evening, they bring the smaller animals into their tents to protect them from the cold night air. Herders depend on these animals for food, clothing, and wealth. Goats provide them with milk, meat, and also serve as assets and means of trade. Nomads can sell or barter their goats at weekly village markets. During the dry season, limited food and water supplies harm the animal's health and fertility. For this reason, herders place special care on maintaining their herd's health as they move through with substantial economic benefits. They drive herds of sheep across the country, from the warmer lowlands in winter to mountain pastures in summer. In these extensive grazing systems, ewes give birth once a year and are grazed freely in a low-input system. The herds are monitored by nomads 24 hours a day as they roam on grazing pastures, with few fences or enclosures in Afghanistan's grasslands. Sheep are easier to trade in rural areas than cattle. Generally, a nomadic family needs a minimum of 100 sheep to maintain a stable economic livelihood, producing most of the raw materials for beloved grilled meats and its renowned carpets. Now let's embark on an incredible journey to a remote mountaintop in the heart of Eastern Europe. The Carpathian Mountains are home to shepherds. Here, shepherds produce traditional cheeses and dairy products known for their high quality and rich flavour. As the sun sets over the rugged peaks of the Carpathians, farmers begin gathering their sheep for the night. This family owns 800 milk sheep, 200 lambs, and 50 rams, with each group herded in different areas of the mountains. The larger pastures are reserved for milk sheep. The rams are kept apart from the ewes to avoid early breeding. The sheep are milked twice a day. Each shepherd, with skillful hands and a steady rhythm, can care for around 160 milk sheep, completing the task within an hour. When summer comes and the grass begins to wither, food supplies dwindle, and the sheep are milked only once a day. Though less in quality, the milk becomes richer in fat, and the cheese produced during this period is highly valued. After preliminary processing, the milk is placed in bags, any trapped air stored until September, before being distributed to the community. Mountain herding always poses the risk of predators, such as bears and wolves, but shepherds, along with their loyal dogs, skillfully ward off these threats. A few decades ago, villagers at the foot of the Carpathians measured their wealth not only by the land, but also by the size of their sheep flock. But now, the mountains are nearly deserted, and once thriving flocks are on the brink of decline.